Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. This is going to be a very brief session, really. It's to show you the resource, where it is on our website, how you can access it, and what you can do with it. I suppose the origins of this project really are partly personal, a lot to do with my own particular interest. I worked for probably about 18 years with international students, both in colleges and universities. So it has been an interest of mine. The whole area of cross-cultural and intercultural awareness is something that I'm very interested in and think is really something that we should all be focusing on. And I suppose it's been brought to the fore really in the past couple of years or so, just by the nature of the society and the world that we're living in. I mean, it seems, we are so near at the touch of a button. I mean, here we are, I'm communicating with you. Over the past years, when we've been doing webinars, we've actually had people joining us from all over the world, really. So, we are so near at the touch of a button, yet in so many ways, we are so far apart. We've got the internet, we've got email, Skype, social media, yet when you look at what's happening in the world, whether it's post-Brexit or whether it's post the referendum in the United States, the levels of hostility and animosity towards those people that are different shows the need for an understanding of different cultural and national perspectives. Really, an ability to see the world through someone else's eyes and to communicate effectively with them. According to the Future Work Skills 2020 report, cross-cultural competency is going to be an important work skill across different job and work settings. Not just really for people who are going to be working overseas, but also for working in any organisation, really, because organisations increasingly are seeing diversity as a driver of innovation and research. And we now know that what makes a group really intelligent and innovative, and there has been some research done on this, is really the combination, the diversity of the team. So the combination of the different ages, the skills, the disciplines, working and thinking styles that everybody really brings to the table. So in terms of our colleges, we need to be developing people who will need to be adaptable, lifelong learners, developing those digital skills such as media literacy, but also soft skills as the ability to collaborate, to work in groups, to read social cues, and to respond adaptively. So cultural intelligence, or CQ as it's called, I think offers a number of benefits in this regard. CDN therefore commissioned who's a colleague that I have known for a number of years from my British Council days, but she has a long history of expertise in cultural intelligence. And we asked her to develop a resource for us which colleges could use. So it's aimed at staff to help them develop and enhance their own cultural intelligence, but it's also there to help students or to help you help your students to develop in this area as part of their learning and teaching, but also for employability, for a future work skill that the students that you have in your classes today are going to need in the future. So we're going to start first of all by playing you a short video. And this is just really Lucy explaining in about 2 minutes what cultural intelligence is.
Why is it some people are able to study, to work, to lead in and with other cultures, and other people flounder? Research has found an answer is cultural intelligence, or CQ, the capacity to be effective in diverse cultural contexts. My name is Lucy Butters, and I'm a trainer, coach and speaker who specialises in developing CQ with individuals and organisations, especially universities. I'm certified with the Cultural Intelligence Centre. CQ can be assessed and it can be developed. Much traditional training in this area focuses on knowledge. To what extent are cultures similar and different, and what values underpin those differences? There is no end to knowledge, and it is valuable. But what use is knowledge without the motivation to use it? But CQ stems from research into what makes us effective. Knowledge is only one of 4 factors. Motivation. What's your motivation? Your challenges, your opportunities. Strategy. This is the ability to plan, to check, and to reflect on your assumptions and interactions. Action. We need to be able to modify our behaviours. CQ is not about personality. It's a set of capabilities which lead to specific outcomes, better decision making, better performance and better adjustment to new cultures. Research has found that diverse teams with high CQ are 3 times more successful on indicators such as innovation, productivity, profitability. The world is more interconnected than ever before, and there are rewards for people and organisations who enhance their CQ. The world needs more people with high CQ. Make one of them you.
Okay, that was a very short video. What I'm going to do now is really to share my screen and help you to see what I'm looking at. Okay, I hope you can see that. What you're looking at is on the CDN website. Under courses, at the top of our homepage, you will be able to see CDN Learn Online. This is our Moodle. If you're not already registered on this, then you can register on it, and every time you click on it, you will log in, and this will give you access to some of the resources and courses. Now you'll see on the right hand side we've got a box that says latest units, and you'll also see we've got cultural intelligence under that. In the future, because we've just kind of launched this today, in the future you will see an icon like the others which will have an equalities tag under it. We haven't put that up at the moment because we're also working on a resource for embedding equality, diversity and inclusion into the curriculum. So those 2 things will be under that equalities resource. But for the moment, I'm going to click on the cultural intelligence. Now I have to log in. I did this before, but it's obviously gone. Okay, so here we are. This is the welcome page, and this really just shows you, you see the video that we watched. It's really an introduction about how you use the resource. So as I've said, it's got 2 uses really. It's a staff development tool really for college staff to enhance their own approaches to equality, diversity, inclusion, internationalisation, cultural understanding and employability. But also I think it's a useful resource for staff to use with students, perhaps as part of employability, as part of working, project working, maybe if you've got a diverse mix of students within your own class cohort, or else preparing them to work with a diverse mix of staff in the workplace. So if we go on to the introduction, we then have an introductory interview really between myself and Lucy. And this highlights, in a sense, where cultural intelligence has come from, what the 4 capabilities of cultural intelligence are, what makes cultural intelligence different really from other approaches, and then what relevance it has for the college sector as a whole. We then move on to the capabilities of cultural intelligence. For most of these capabilities, apart from the knowledge one, you will see that we have a very short introductory video, and then we have a webinar, a presentation on cultural intelligence, on what is called CQ Drive or CQ Motivation. And that's really about your interest. How motivated are you to want to learn in this area? What are your interests? It may be that you've a personal interest. It may be that there's a professional interest because you are being asked to look into this. You've got a diverse mix of students. You want to be able to understand a bit more about some of the issues round about culture or background, whether it's religion or belief, whether it's a bit about language. So that's really, this section is really about how you can enhance your motivation or drive in this area. The next area is about knowledge. We don't have a video on this. This is just a presentation really, which is about how you can add to your knowledge. It talks about what we mean by culture, what are the different areas round about culture. You see from the images there that you've got a fairly standard image in relation to culture, which is the iceberg image. And that is that there's so much underneath the surface in relation to culture that we don't know about. When we think about, there's our own British or Scottish culture, there's things that are very visible that other people can see quite readily, but there's also so much underneath that people don't get a chance to see and can often come out in unexpected ways. And you've also got the image of the onion, peeling back the layers of what is our culture, what do we mean by the cultural dimensions that we all have, whether it's about things like how direct or indirect we are, how individualistic or collectivistic are different cultures, how well we cope with uncertainty. Do we avoid it? Do we embrace it? Context in terms of things like time. What's our attitude to time? What's our attitude to meetings? We were having quite a good discussion here this afternoon in terms of thinking about meeting cultures and what is the purpose of meetings, and how our view of meetings as being very much business-like and getting through an agenda is not necessarily how everyone else views meetings. It's whether is it about relationship building, or is it about getting through the agenda in the quickest time possible. So that's really giving you an insight, in a sense, into what we mean by culture, what is cultural understanding, what are the different dimensions of culture. We then move on to strategy, which again we come back to the short video. The strategy side of it, I suppose, is more about how do you plan? If you've got your motivation, you know you want to learn more about this, you know you want to make it an issue for your students, you've increased your knowledge, you've spent some time reading things, looking at videos, what do you then do with that? How do you plan to put that, say, in a lesson? You know, if you want to do this as part of a lesson plan, how do you do that? How do you want to bring it up with the learning groups that you've got? And it's about thinking in some ways as well, a sort of self-evaluation time, checking your own assumptions, checking what assumptions there are within the group, looking at things, I suppose, like stereotypes, being aware of your own kind of cultural values in a sense and how they might come across in what you're doing. And finally, we've got action, which is actually about how you implement this. What are the kind of things that you do? Once you've got your knowledge and understanding, you're thinking much more about how you communicate with people, all the factors in relation to communication, how you interact with the groups that you've got, whether they're diverse groups, how you might teach in a sense about diversity and about different cultural understanding. So it is things about non-verbal communication. It's about the type of language that you might use, making sure that you're not using idioms or jargon that people whose first language is not English would not immediately be able to pick up on. It's also about things like being aware of issues round about, you know, personal space, what's personal, what's private, you know, how, because we all have our own kind of bubble round about us about what is our personal space and what is our private space. And for people from different cultures and backgrounds, that changes, you know, and sometimes that change can make us feel uncomfortable. So it's about looking at things like that, the actions that we might take. And then finally, we've got a resources page. And here you can access, there are some YouTube films. There's also a film on CQ in education, as well as some a guide, particularly for HR practitioners. I've also added in some college examples, which is just, you know, it's not definitive, it's just really to give you an idea, I suppose, of how some colleges are incorporating issues round about cultural intelligence and understanding into student learning and staff development. We do want, now I'm going to come out of that and go back to our presentation. Okay, so we do want to grow this resource, and we want, if there's anything that you're doing in your own institution, your own college, round about this area, we would be happy for you to contribute to our resource here, for you to send us some information. We will incorporate your films, your lesson plans, your presentations, so that we want this to be something really that is live and does grow, and as colleges are using it, that we add to the resource that we've got. So basically that is the resource in a nutshell. It's up to you now to use it, have a look at it either later on today or tomorrow and in the coming weeks. Let us know what you think of it. Email me, my details are here.